Hey, it's Brain Muffin the Beer Nerd back with some brewery stuff. This is interesting. This is not a beer review, but it's an interesting concept. Brut beers, or I guess Brut, I don't know, Brut. How ancient techniques are driving the world's trendiest beers. Kat Walensky. This comes from Vine Pear, and as in the vine, V-I-N-E, not as in the German word for wine. Unless you've been living under a rock, under a beer repellent rock, you've likely heard the word Brut. No, I haven't. But this is mostly due to the recently emerged, rapidly spreading Brut IPA category. And it seems like everybody's making some kind of version of the IPA, and they're really popular for like 8 months, and then they're gone. But Brut is not new to beers. Brewers have been experimenting with the sparkling wine-inspired method for at least a decade. Yeah, I think, wasn't that High Life? Was the champagne of beers? Called Bière, I guess, Bière Brut or Bière de Champagne. Bottle-conditioned effervescent beers that are produced in or inspired by the method Champenois? I don't know. Champenois? My French is horrible. Méthode Champenoise. The ancient technique is also known as I don't care. Right? It's known by a bunch of other French names. Who gives a crap? Its adaptation to beer yields bubbly, fruity, bone-dry brews worthy of any celebration. Okay, Beer Brut is currently making a splash, or I guess brew, around the world again as trendy breweries like Coldwater, Side Project Brewing, and now Mikkeller I've heard of. The other two not. So what in the world does this mean? So it's by style. Typically, it is very effervescent, high gravity, 8% or above, and light-bodied, like sparkling wine. But what truly puts the Brut in Brut beer is what happens after it's bottled, not its ingredients. All Brut beers are bottle conditioned. Not all bottle conditioned beers are Brut. Okay, kind of like triangles and rectangles. For a bottle conditioned beer to become a Bière Brut, it must all undergo secondary fermentation using champagne yeast, as opposed to using ale yeast, and then be riddled and disgorged. What the heck does that mean? Bottles are aged on their sides, positioned so the basis of the bottles sits slightly higher than the tops, so sediment can settle in the neck. Okay. As the liquid ages over the course of several months, bottles are routinely twisted so sediment on the sides of the bottle can loosen. Disgorging refers to the next step when the bottle necks are placed in a cold bath that flash freezes the liquid inside. Ooh. Bottles are carefully opened so the frozen block of solid sediment pops out while the beer remains intact. Oh, that's how they do that. Okay. What's left is clear, sparkling. So again, no yeast sediment. So in the early 2000s, as such, it can be confused with the American-made champagne of beers. We all know that one, or Berliner Weiss. But Berliner Weiss is cloudy. Champagne in the north, but not. At least it doesn't mean share the much common. It doesn't even share that much in common with the Brut IPA, which is generally not produced using the method. Wait a minute. I thought you said you're supposed to do the method. Le méthode Champenois. As legend has it, beer writer Michael Jackson visited Malher Brewery in Belgium and asked its owner what his dream was. Manu replied that he wanted to make a beer like they make champagne in France. Okay, Thomas Demour, Malher's head grunt, once told Belgian Smack. The dream was realized, and Malher Bière Brut, a Belgian strong ale, re-fermented up to 3 times in the bottle with champagne yeast, then riddled and disgorged. The beer, released in 2002, is widely considered to be the first beer made with the... Okay. First and foremost, the beer, albeit an extraordinary and most unusual one. I'm going to have to look into this. This seems interesting. Also in 2002... Okay, so... Bastilles. I've actually reviewed some of their beers. Took the champagne influence even further, shipping its bottles to a champagne house to be truly treated. Oh, there we go. Imitation may be the sincerest form of flattery, but in Bastille's case, it proved to be problematic. Its corked and aged champagne-like bottle was reportedly so similar to that of Dom Perignon that the famous champagne house threatened to sue. Also got a slap on the wrist when it advertised its beer as the Voive. My French is horrible, and clearly these champagne producers aren't happy about brewers. Protect the turf. Yeah, that's right. So what? Notice that both breweries continue producing champagne-like labels, style labels. Bostel added Domis Vobiscum Brut. I'm gonna have to find some of these. By 2010, it was popping up around the world. So we have Microbrasserie in Charlevoix. That's what I think. In Canada, please correct my French because it's horrible. Miller's, okay. I didn't. Oh, that's been years ago. Wow. Let's keep going because I don't have all day to read this stupid article. Okay, introduced its double Vienna Brut. Ooh, 11.5%. Very nice. Double. Okay. Ooh, it's re-fermented with champagne yeast, cellared for 18 months, and ribboned and scored. I'm gonna figure out how to do this as a home brewer because that sounds really interesting. In the U.S., we have Golden Valley in Portland. It's regarded as the first American brewery to try the style with its IVA VS Brut, released in 2006. Okay, that's been a double IPA. Is you Chardonnay very okay. Aged and used, was bottled via. Ooh, so it was bottled that method. Craft brewers, even the inventors, have continued to expand the Bière Brut trend. Geeky new labels, industry veterans alike are launching iterations of the style. Side Project Brewing in St. Louis, Missouri. Small craft brewer and perennial artesian ales. Okay, and Corey King. Head brewer is Blanc de Blanc. Okay, fermented in Chardonnay barrels with Missouri-grown Chardonnay grapes. 2014. Meanwhile, long-standing craft beer Victory. Okay, Victory is good. Introduced Jubilee, a Belgian style, all from sparkling wine yeast and German Blanc hops. Fashion changes quickly in craft beer. That is for sure. As our attention shifts from juicy bombs to milkshakes at a moment's notice. So it's been around. I guess it's coming back in many ways. But Brut is a rare trend that is both centuries old and cutting edge. That's very interesting. So modern champagne style beers to try. Side Project Blanc de Blanc. Transmitting Brewing HB. Okay. Victory Brewing Jubilee. I imagine these things are not cheap. A bottle is probably 10, and you're not going to get a 12-ounce bottle. You're going to get a much larger bottle, but it's probably in the neighborhood of $10 or more. But, aged, brewed and then aged. And so you're going to repitch yeast. You got to have some sugars that are still hanging around. You're going to probably have to, I don't know. Yeah, you don't want to aerate anymore. 18 months, and then these styles, there's a lot of handwork here. This is not automated, so yeah, it's gonna be a little bit costly, but it definitely seems worth the effort. Now that I know a little bit more about this style, and hopefully someone will please correct me on my French pronunciations, so that when I do a beer review, I don't sound like a complete idiot. All right, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sharing all these videos, and I appreciate your patronage. Goodbye.